Yeah, we need to stop being so judgmental. Let people make their own
decisions. Make their own decisions and do what's best for their lives, right? Hey, how are you, Elle?
Good. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. So, anything new happening in your world?
Well, I've been super busy and I'm really glad to be recording again. We took a little break there because we're both a little busy. Both our businesses are growing though, so it's really good news.
Yes, it was nice to just take a quick little break and get some type of breather and just kind of relax. And now we're back. We're back in it. All right. So on this episode, we're going to talk about a conversation that's going around on social media. And that conversation is pertaining to Gen Z, right? People are saying, well, Gen Z, they're foregoing a huge paycheck. Question was posed like, would you take a job if you have to go into the office 5 days a week for a $200,000 salary? Or would you rather get half of that or even a quarter of that salary just so you can work from home and preserve your mental health? And so we've talked a lot about mental health on this channel. And so I want to know what you think about this, because there's two sides of this, and I kind of see both sides of people being for taking the $200,000 and going into the office 5 days a week and working 80 hours a week. And then I do see the side where people are like, no, I need a one work day a week, work from home, preserve my mental health, all of that. So give me your thoughts. Let's dive in.
Okay, I will give you my thoughts, but I'm going to start with a disclaimer because I was just on the phone, like right before we started filming this podcast with one of my best friends, and we're on opposite sides of this completely. So she's corporate gal, 401k, multiple retirement accounts, has always had a job. By the way, she just got laid off. So my argument's kind of winning right now. But me, on the other hand, I've been working remotely since 2015. I took a pay cut and I then worked kind of back up to a $200K a year job that I then walked away from to start my business. Mm-hmm. So you can probably guess what my argument is for here. But with that disclaimer, I'm very much on one side of this, but I have many friends who've been on the other side of it. And I've seen, we kind of compare notes to see like the fruit of our choices, right? So I definitely think that guarding your mental health, and having a good life, right? Mm-hmm. Choosing your personal life over the grind. Okay, I definitely don't have as big of a nest egg as my friend who's always worked in the corporate world, always made the right choices according to everyone. But I have all of these life experiences and all of these travel experiences, time with friends, people I've met from all over the world, friendships that I'll have for life from, living on the road for a few years while I worked remotely, things like that at the end of my life, when I look back on it, I don't ever regret any of those times. And so I guess, you're choosing between good memories and what people are actually going to talk about in your obituary, right? They're going to talk about your relationships. They're going to talk about who you were. They're not necessarily going to say, oh, you were a corporate executive making X amount of dollars per year and you had this amount of money in your 401k. That can make you feel comfortable and safe and secure, but is it going to make you happy? So yeah. We've been going back and forth, and my friend and I on this call, we didn't really come to the best conclusion. So I would love to hear your ideas and feedback on that.
Yeah. Before I get to that though, you did say something about the things that make you happy. And I always tell people, you can drop dead right now with all the assets and all the stuff you have, and you never get to enjoy it, right? I was just talking to somebody the other day and I said, well, you work your entire life. You work until your retirement age, 60, 70 something. And then you retire at 75 and by 76, you're dead. Did you really enjoy life? I mean, really, did you really enjoy life? And so for me, like, I want to stop and just kind of enjoy life and taking the moments and the little things that matter, because in the end, when you're on your deathbed, and we're all going to get there, what are you going to enjoy remembering the most? Working 80 hours a week, having all this money that you never get to enjoy, or taking a trip with your friends, spending time with family, just reading a book, the things in life that people don't put a lot of value on. All right. So here's my take on this issue. So I'm on both sides of the fence, right? I think that if you're Gen Z and you're young, especially if you have no responsibilities, no children, I mean, most of them have a pet, but if you have no human beings that you have to take care of, or you might end up going to jail if you leave them at home alone. But if you don't have that and all you have is yourself to take care of, I say work as much as you possibly can to stack that money so that you can retire early. And when you are able to retire early, then you can start enjoying those things that I just talked about, right? But within that, I also think that you should find a balance, right? You can't just live to work. And a lot of people, their identity is wrapped up in the fact that they are a corporate executive, or they're in C-suite, or, they get to fly on the company private jet. That's their whole identity. And take that away from them, and it's as if they don't exist anymore. They have no value. They have no worth, and they feel like their life is over. And so for me, I think that finding the balance on both is important. So keep the money, work the job. If you have to go and work for the $200,000 a year for 5 years, that's not a long time, but you're stacking all that money, I say do it. But at the same time, you got to know yourself. And if you know you're not that kind of person that is overly stimulated and just always want to have like tons of people around you and just a lot of noise and all of that, then yes, do the work from home thing, do the remote, the hybrid, whatever you call it. That makes you happy and you comfortable, because at the end of the day, it's about your mental health. Nobody can tell you how to live your life. You have to live it your way that best suits you, not just mentally, but health-wise. Your health is not just mental, it's also physical, right? So you got to take all that into consideration. So yeah, I'm on the fence with both. Just depends on each individual circumstance, case by case.
Yeah. If you're a small business owner, service provider, or founder who feels like you're the entire marketing department, you're the tech department, you're also the creative department, and you're the customer service department, then Pierce Systems exists for you. We work with business owners who are great at what they do, but their time is being eaten alive by marketing execution, system setup, and tech decisions that they shouldn't be making alone. And the problem isn't that you don't work hard enough. The problem is that your time is being spent on the wrong things. Every hour you spend tweaking a graphic, learning a new tool, or duct taping systems together is an hour you're not spending on sales, strategy, leadership, or rest. You don't need to do everything. You just need to do the right things. And we build systems that give you time back. One of the fastest ways to grow brand authority without more content burnout is audio advertising. At Pierce Systems, we create strategic audio ads that get your business in front of the right audience without you needing to post more, show up more, or perform more. These ads are designed to build trust, increase visibility, drive traffic, and position you as the obvious choice. If you want marketing that works while you're not working, audio ads are one of the smartest moves you can make. All right, if you are thinking, I can't afford to outsource right now, the fact is that you're already paying in time, stress, and missed opportunities. Outsourcing isn't an expense. It's a leveraged decision. Now, if you're thinking, I should understand this stuff myself, but you don't need to do everything. You just need to understand your role. CEOs and leaders, they don't do everything. They decide what matters. Now, if you're thinking, no one will do it as well as I do, well, maybe, But done consistently beats done perfectly every time. And systems make that possible. Peer Systems doesn't sell trendy tools or one-size-fits-all solutions. We look at your goals, your time constraints, your capacity, your growth stage, and then we build systems that support your real-life goals. Everything we do is rooted in one question. What can we take off your plate so you and your team can focus on what matters most? If you're ready to be more strategic with your time, and if you're done doing everything yourself, if you want your business to work harder for you, Peer Systems is here to help. You can explore audio ads at peersystems.org. Stop carrying everything alone, build systems, and protect your time. And refocus on the goals that actually grow your business.
So I would tell my daughter, yeah, you have nothing to do. You live at home. You don't pay bills. Go take that $200,000 job.
Yeah.
You have nothing to do. You don't have to pay your own phone bill. What complaints do you have? But somebody else who's much older that has to juggle children and family and all of that, I would definitely say, no, family is important. Take care of that first. That comes first.
Yeah. Going back to being younger, I definitely worked in the office for the first, 10 or so years of my career. And that's where I developed relationships with some of the people who are still my closest friends today. And I learned a lot about my job, about how to do the job. So I would say it's definitely beneficial to work in an office early in your career because you learn more and you develop these lifelong relationships.
Yeah. And it's those same skills that we've both developed from working in corporate that we can translate into being a business owner and, having those, not just the actual technical skills, but the interpersonal skills that you need. So, and then that's why you might see a lot of Gen Zs or whatever they call themselves. They start a lot of businesses. Yes, they make a lot of money real fast, but then also that money goes fast as well because I think they don't have the right skills to keep that going. It comes fast, it leaves fast. And so I feel like, yes, you're right. Take the job, develop those skills because those are lifelong soft skills that you will need for the rest of your life.
I have a different opinion about your mention of saving towards retirement, choosing that high paying job and just working towards retirement until retirement age and then retiring a little bit early. For me, I chose a little bit of a different path. I wanted to take mini retirements while I was still young instead of waiting until the end of my life. And so I did that. I would save up and then I would take a year off, spend the money and go do what I wanted, which was usually traveling and trying a new business venture. Yes, I tried many business ventures before settling on this business. But yeah, I don't regret it. I mean, I might when it comes to retirement age and everybody else can retire and I might not have enough to retire, but TBD on
That's
that.
the majority of people.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a valid point. And I also agree with that, like I said earlier in the conversation, that you should not just work to get to the end of your life and then retire at 75 and then dead at 76, so you never get to enjoy it.
Yeah.
But everything in life is a balance. So you can work and save towards retirement, but yes, just like you, take these small little vacations and breaks or however you want to word it to preserve your mental health and to just enjoy life. Life is so short. I mean, let me tell you, life is so short. You blink and you're not here tomorrow. And you have no control over when you go. So why not just stop to smell the roses, just be grateful and be happy and just do what's best for you, right? That's just always my mantra.
It's very true. And yes, we acknowledge everyone needs to make money, right? But we're choosing between making enough money to get by and being comfortable, having the flexibility versus taking the highest paying job you can get, having zero flexibility and working around the clock. Because especially this day and age in corporate America, with all of the layoffs, I feel like the fact that there's so many layoffs, people feel like they need to work harder to just keep their job. And it it can suck up your entire life, and you can have at least I've had this experience where you have no choice but feel like you need to work around the clock for that corporate job in order to keep it and to keep
Yeah.
that high salary that you're used to making.
Oh, yeah. And it is definitely hard for some people once they've gotten a pay cut to kind of adjust to that. Because, I mean, you go from the $500,000 a year, company vehicle, private jets, and then you go down to living in a 2-bedroom house. You know that how that shocks a lot of people. They
Right.
can't handle that.
Yeah, definitely. One other thing you mentioned was keeping balance. You mentioned this a few times. Do you have any tips on how to maintain that balance?
Yeah, well, what works for me is saying no. And I joke all the time with my business counterparts, my acquaintances and stuff. They'll like some of my clients would be like, "Oh, Shauna, can I buy some office chairs?" And I'd be like, "No." And they think I'm laughing. I mean, I am laughing, but I'm serious. I'm like, "No." They're like, "Why do you always say no?" I said, "Because it makes me happy. It does make me happy when I say no." So I think that you have to just kind of like learn to say no. I mean, it's hard, but finding balance in that sense is you saying no to the things that don't fulfill you. You saying no to the things that overspend you, right? Because if I'm doing more over here and I'm getting burned out, then there's no time left for me to focus on me. I'm just clearing my head, So yeah, that's my favorite word, no. And caveat here, it took me years to get to a point where I can say no. Cause we talked about this. When you're younger, you want to be a people pleaser. You want to just be like, yes, boss, no boss. And you just do everything. But then as you age, you realize, and I always wonder why older people just don't care. I was like, older people, they can just say anything, no filter, don't care. I was like, man, I wish I could be like that. And then I realized I got to a certain age and I'm like, wow, I'm like that. And I don't even feel bad. Like, it doesn't even bother me. Like, I'll tell you how I feel and like move on. But yeah, doing that helps me. Finding balance too is just taking time out for yourself. Just even as business owners, you work, more than 8 hours a week, right? Because there's operations to go, then you get to talk to new clients and you gotta go meet people. So it's a lot of inner workings as a business owner, especially if you're a solopreneur. It's you, which means you're the HR, you're the you're the PR, you're the marketing, you're the accountant, you're the this, you're everything, right? And so you have to be able to say, oh, my work cutoff time is 5 o'clock. Or whatever time you set for yourself, that's comfortable for you. And that's your cutoff time. And you have to stick to it. You can't say my cutoff time is 5 o'clock, but then you take a break and go drink some water and you're right back at your desk. That doesn't help. Take a break and kind of like, especially people who work from home, they tend to fall into that trap of just always doing work. You cut off at 5 or 6 or 7, whatever your hours you set are, and you leave the building. I mean, just like if you were in a corporate America, you would leave the building and go home, leave your house, go for a walk. There's parks, go to Starbucks, just get out. You don't have to go anywhere fancy. You can just go walk around your block just to get out and change your mindset. So that worked for me. Like, I know, like on my calendar, on my calendar, every day at 4 o'clock, I'm done. Every day at 4 o'clock. I mean, that people might say, wow, that's early. But usually I'm up at 2 a.m. So I'm already up at 2 a.m. starting my day. So by 4 o'clock, mentally I'm already out anyway. But I use 4 o'clock because I know that's the time that I pick up my daughter from school. And that's our little bonding time we go play pickleball when it's nice outside in the summer. We go to gymnastics. Sometimes we go grab ice cream, just little things to just get my mind off of work. And so I feel like you have to set boundaries, not just for other people, but for yourself. Because we're the biggest culprit of breaking our own boundaries. And you have to do that. Otherwise you're just frazzled. And I can't do that. Like, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah. I need to be better about that. I completely agree. Boundaries are important for yourself and for others. And I think another point, along with being able to say no is also having the knowledge to know what to say no to, right?
Oh,
So,
totally.
yeah. So you need to know what your goals are in your job and what activities are going to help you reach those goals and which activities are distractions from those goals. And those are the ones you need to know to say no to so you can focus on the ones that are. So at the end of the week or whatever, you can say, okay, well, I said no to all these things because here you go. I've accomplished the big goal I was looking towards.
Yeah. And I always hear a lot of people say that they've spent all day working and they don't see what they've done. And that's because you're so distracted doing all these other things that isn't towards your main goal, like you mentioned, right? So all these little things over here, they're just distracting. They're just a distraction. Just get them out the way and focus on what you have to do and get that done and move on to the next day. So.
And that's staying in your email inbox, having back-to-back meetings, things like that will eat up your day and you will get no results. So you've got to minimize those. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, and saying no doesn't necessarily mean saying no to a big paycheck either, right? Again, it's doing what's best for you at the stage of life that you are and the circumstances that you are surrounded by. Because somebody in, their 20s have a whole different life than me. And so we're going to be making two different type of decisions here. Your decisions are going to be focused on you. And my decisions are going to be focused on my business, my activities outside of work, my children, all of that. So again, you got to know where you stand.
Absolutely. And one choice is not right and one choice is not wrong. It's what works for you.
What works for you.
Right or wrong.
Exactly. Yeah. Which is why when I saw that conversation on social, I was like, well, you can't tell somebody what they can and cannot do. Not because, calling Gen Zs, they're weak. Why can't they go to work? I'm like, no, it doesn't work that way. It's a different time.
We need to stop being so judgmental. Let people make their own decisions.
Make their own decisions and do what's best for their lives, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So I hope you guys enjoyed this conversation today. And if you have any thoughts on this or any questions, please just drop us a comment in below and hopefully we can keep the conversation going and we have more of these chats.
Yeah. We'll see you next week. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Bye, everyone.
All right, guys. Bye, guys.